Right.
I mean, if it's what you really, really want. Well, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want. I really, really want. Yeah, I want it.
I want it. Really, really, really want it.
Dang, dang. Something.
Zigga zigga.
I don't know. Fuck.
Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Welcome to Smoke Wagon with your hosts, Tin Killer Cole and Ox Ford.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Smoke Wagon Podcast. I'm Tin Killer Cole. That right over there is my good buddy, Ox Ford. Ox, how you doing?
Not too good.
What's wrong, Ox?
Well, my asshole is all beer and Skittles.
Beer and Skittles?
By beer and Skittles, I mean unpleasant. I was just...
But beer and Skittles sounds delicious.
But it means unpleasant, apparently. So I was looking up a glossary of old West terms, and apparently beer and Skittles meant unpleasant. So that's how my butthole is feeling today. I was just on the old porta potty, and it was like a waterfall of hate. You know, like that.
Oh my God!
The shit came flying out of me like a liquid demon escaping a coal mine.
Well.
It was it was not good.
A very pleasant introduction to the third installment of Smoke Wagon. What we can expect for well, hell, I don't even have the damn thing open. Ox, what am I doing? Okay, so we're going to talk about in this podcast a little bit.
No, I don't know what you were just going to say there.
I know. Well, I just wanted to tell everybody what to expect in this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about.
Oh, I see.
About a little bit about drinking in the West, some of the more popular drinks that they had and where they got their alcohol, moonshining, shit.
Why?
I don't know, Ox.
We don't need to. You know what? Here's the thing. If you're listening to this, you just listen to what we have to say. And if what we talk about, and that's it. We don't need to tell them what we're going to talk about. We'll just talk about whatever. What I did want to talk about, Cole, was last week and the week before. So the last, obviously 2 episodes. You've been ending the show by saying it's the business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of clarify. I wanted to, just in case anybody was like, I don't understand what it's the business means. I kind of want to go over that. So one day we're talking, and Cole says to me, he's like, it's, oh, you said it's the business, right? Isn't that how it started off, or did you say what the real phrase was?
I said, you told me something. I can't remember what it was, and I said, "Oh yeah." It might have been like a TV show or something. And I was like, "Yeah, I love that shit. That's the bee's knees." And then right after I said that, I was like, "I wonder how the fuck the bee's knees started." And then it came to me like without googling it. I was just like, "I wonder if it meant it's like a play on the word. It's the business." And I googled it. Turns out it is. It's a play on words, and it started with it's the business.
It's the business, and it makes sense because if you go, it's the business, yeah. Like that it comes from like a certain accent. Like I think about that too sometimes. Like I'll listen to a word, I'll go, like, try saying that like in a different accent, like with an Irish accent or something. You're like, man, that's probably where that fucking shit came from. Then, like you say, you look it up, and there it is.
There it is. It's the business. So then every time, like I thought something. But me and Ox talk a lot outside of the show. Obviously, I mean he's my very best friend, old Oxford. And every time I think something is awesome, or he thinks something is awesome, I'll just say, "Yeah, it's the business."
It's the business. So. Yeah, so just in case, I want to clarify that a little bit. He says this. I've been trying to work on. Something myself. I'm trying to work on like a little phrase to say. And the phrase I've been trying to work on is "Ain't that a pity?"
Ain't that a pity?
Ain't that a pity? Now, I've been trying to push this phrase for probably a good 10 fucking years.
It's not going over?
Nobody's accepting this fucking phrase. Let me tell a little story, all right? Story time. Sit back, kids. All right? Fucking get your marshmallows out, get your sticks, get your hot dogs, get your cannolis. Okay. I don't know why the fuck you'd have a cannoli.
My God, I'm going to open a beer for this one. There we go.
All right. So, my roommate Brian, we're going to call him Buckaroo Brian. All right, that's going to be his name. If he ever gets on,
don't tell him that.
Don't tell him that. But we're going to call him Buckaroo Brian. So Buckaroo Brian and I, we used to film short films, and we did podcasts and stuff before they were being called podcasts. We were doing it. We had a lot of different names. Well, anyway, we were doing this one series called Lock and Guy. And I actually think we called it Simple Minded at the time. But anyway, and the one guy starts, for whatever reason, starts cutting promos on, like, wrestling promos on his roommate. Like, he starts dressing up like a cowboy and starts cutting promos, and he's basically like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you cutting promos on me? And he kept trying to push this fucking phrase, ain't that a pity? Like, everything he would say, at the end of it, he would go, now, ain't that a pity? Now, the joke was he was trying to push ain't that a pity as his catchphrase, and nobody was having it. And in real life, nobody was having it either when I was trying to push it on other things. So after that, I was doing a wrestling podcast called The Cheap Shot, where we did with this guy Ben, and Ben he got like a little piece of pyro from he was at WrestleMania, and a little piece of pyro hit him, and we kept fucking around with him on the podcast saying, poor Ben died, and he'd be like, guys, I'm not here. Now, we didn't rehearse this or anything. We just did it where we just started ignoring him. And we were like, poor Ben, it's a shame he died at WrestleMania. He's like, guys, I didn't die, I'm right here. He started going along with the joke, And then I shot this video where we're trying to raise him from the dead, and I have Brian dressed like an Indian with it fucking, the whole headdress and shit. And Ben's supposed to come out dressed like a cowboy, and it's like bad green fucking makeup on his face, and he comes out, and he's like, I'm a fiery cowboy from the depths of hell. Ain't that a pity?
Oh no.
And he just quit, like, as he's like, ain't that a pity? Oh man, he's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't even push ain't that a pity with that. So
do you have that video still?
I do.
Can you do me a favor?
I do. I have it. We'll have to tweet it out.
Yeah, link that up on our Twitter. I'm gonna have to get a good look at this "Ain't That a Pity" slogan campaign that you had going on.
And he's even wearing an "Ain't That a Pity" T-shirt that he got green makeup on it from a different fucking thing we were doing from before that. Like, that shirt that he's wearing wasn't for that bit. It was for the other short we were doing for the short video series.
Wait, he had the shirt made, or
I had the shirt. I know I had the shirt made. It's laying around, and I happened to have like a fucking cowboy hat, and Brian had an old leather duster. So this dude, and Ben's 6'5", so he's a big guy too, and so he's wearing a cowboy hat, green makeup, he's got the duster on, and he's wearing a T-shirt that says "Ain't That a Pity," and I thought it was funny, man, but yeah, nobody was accepting "Ain't That a Pity." So my goal,
I kind of like it, Ox, for the record. I kind of like "Ain't That a Pity."
My goal is for this show, for everyone to accept "Ain't That a Pity."
Ain't that a pity? You know what?
So
I'm on board with you. I'll do "It's the Business," and you say "Ain't that a pity?"
Which almost
are we
shits on
professional
ourselves.
wrestlers now?
Yeah. Ain't that a pity?
Ain't that a pity?
I'm gonna end up getting an "Ain't That a Pity" shirt fucking made up. I'm gonna wear that around. I had one before.
You'll wear your "Ain't That a Pity" shirt, and I'll put "It's the Business" on a shirt, and we'll just walk around together, holding hands, like making out. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh, you were looking for a different sort of relationship. I understand.
Yeah, this is not going as planned.
No.
This is not going as planned. People are going to be like, I ain't fucking subscribed to no goddamn Brokeback Mountain podcast. What is this shit? I want gunslinging badassery like you proposed, not whole hand-holding and fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys.
The funniest thing, we have an outtake from earlier when he was doing an impression of me. It's the fucking best thing I've ever heard. I was laughing so hard. Listen, later on in the show, we're going to do our, obviously, I want to say this at least, get this out of the way.
Hold on, stop for 1 second, One second. You just talked right over my fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys. I don't know what that means.
Fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys? Did you just make that up?
Oh, I said it, yeah. I don't know what the fuck it even means. It's like, you're goddamn tin whiskey. You're fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys.
Fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys. I love that one. I love that, man.
Yeah, that's like, that should have been an old fucking West saying.
It should have been in the last podcast when we talked about, like, making up, they seem like they just made up metaphors for shit.
Well, I have a spoiler for you. I, like any other good fucking fortune teller, I could see us using that bit in upcoming shows.
All right. Fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that means, but that just popped in my head. That sounded really good when I said it.
I like it. You know what? It even has, what's that fancy word for writing? Is it called alliteration or something? Where it kind of, because all the words and the saying kind of have the same sound, like fancy dancing with the Daisy Boy.
The alliteration would be like Lana Lang, or like,
well, it sounds like the same thing to me.
Fancy fucking Freddy. Fancy fucking Freddy. Like, if that was a guy, that's alliteration because it would be all F's. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, there's some sort of writing tool being used there for fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys. I'm sure of it. Anyway.
If you can find on the internet fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys, if somebody else, I will suck a homeless dick. I will suck a homeless dick because I guarantee you ain't finding fancy dancing with the Daisy Boys.
Suck a homeless dick?
I don't know. What the fuck happened to this show? All right.
Later on in the show, towards the end of the show, we're going to be talking about our movie of the week, which was El Dorado. And I've become accustomed now to saying El Dorado because you gave me some shit for saying El Dorado, and I don't know. I used to live in El Dorado, Kansas, and when I lived there, I was just called it El Dorado. I don't know. Anyway, that's off the topic. Later on in the show, we're going to review and give our thoughts on the 1966 John Wayne film El Dorado. But in the meantime,
well, I always grew up saying El Dorado. You got to see this. So Cole's dog is his sidekick here is
my dog. Literally, like he's behind me. Literally, just jumped up on the table where my puzzle is and laid down on my table, where all my puzzle pieces are on the floor. I was doing a nice little puzzle, and now my dog is destroying everything that I've worked so hard to accomplish. You're a piece of shit, Moose. That's my dog, Moose.
That dog said, "Fuck that puzzle. This is my bed."
Well, let me take a. I'm gonna take a picture of this. My dog on my table. So I'm gonna post this to Twitter. My dog ruining everything about my puzzle. Yeah, there we go. So I got the picture.
I have my dog in my room, and my roommate Buckaroo Brian. I'm in his room. That's where I'm recording right now, and I had his dog go downstairs because when he starts shaking that collar, it's so distracting, man.
Okay. Anyway, also I wanted to mention that you had to amend something from last week because you gave on a scale of ridiculous 6 to Tombstone 1 to 10. Last week you gave
0 to 10.
Oh, 0 to 10. Ridiculous 6 being a 0 and Tombstone being a 10. You gave Nevada Smith, our movie from last week, a 4?
I believe I gave it a 4.
You gave it 4 shiny stars. You gave it 4 shiny badges.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't know that it was called shiny badges yet.
Yeah.
I don't think
now we're calling them shiny badges.
Yeah, like big boys. We're going to call them shiny badges.
Shiny badges.
Yeah. And you're right. I am going to amend that. I will not give that a 4 any longer. We talked about this, and we talked about my rating. My rating system is very skewed. I'll watch something really good, like I'll watch Tombstone, and I'll give it a 10, and then I'll watch something else that I like a lot, and then I'll give it a 10, and then I'll go, like I'll look back later and go, but that's not even anywhere near Tombstone. So I realized that the way I rate shit just depends on how much I liked it. You know, like if I'm on Netflix and I'm giving it stars, I'll give everything I like fucking 5 stars. That's not fair. Right. That's not a real, review or a real, rating system.
We talked about this. What you want to do on Netflix is you watch something that you like, even though you might not normally, you wouldn't give it a 5 out of 5 stars. But you want it to be rated higher on Netflix, you know what I mean? So you just give it a 5 to bump up that star system a little bit. And I feel like most people do that. I feel like most people that watch it are either going to give it a 5 or a 1. You know what I mean? How many people honestly watch a Netflix movie? Well, first off, how many people honestly fucking click the star button on Netflix movies?
I was going to say, how many rate?
Yeah, but I think that most people who do it, they feel so strongly about it that they either need to love it or despise it. And that's probably where the rating comes from anyway. You know what I mean? They should just have a thumbs up or thumbs down rating. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I figured, I would amend it. I amend it to a 3.
3 shiny badges.
It's going to be 3 shiny badges. So that will go up on the website. Mm-hmm. I'd have to make some kind of like little widget or some little section or something, that'll have that. I'm actually working on the website too. I saw a lot of pages up.
I saw some of the work that you're doing on the website. Hey, the videos that you texted me of you working on the website, do you think you could post like one of those up on Instagram or Twitter or one of those? Because I'm telling you, I don't know shit about making websites, but my buddy Ox over there, apparently he has a sort of talent, and it's And he doesn't look like a type of guy that
nice.
He doesn't look like the type of guy that would have this sort of thing like under his belt. But he does, and maybe you could post that up on our Instagram, like one of those little videos. It's going to be posted. Our website's going to be up, by the way, on the 1st of next month. We'll launch it. I didn't even tell you that, but I'm letting you know right now.
Yeah, so I guess it's one of those deals where somebody looks at me and they're not gonna I do what I do with graphic design or website development, and I'm not good. I think I'm all right. I think I'm okay. And like if we need something in a pinch, I could get it done. And I don't think I'm being too hard on myself either. I don't think I'm being too critical. I think it's I'm rating it about right. I give my skills. 2 shiny stars. 2 shiny stars.
I give it a 9, Ox. 9 shiny stars. Anyway, I'm sticking with 5 on Nevada Smith. I'm sticking with 5 shiny. Right. Now, you know what? We're messing it all up anyway. It's not shiny stars. It's shiny badges. I'm still sticking with shiny badges. 5 of them for Nevada Smith.
Shit, I have to plug my Surface Pro in, because if I don't, then you can't see me. And what would you do if you can't see me, man?
I don't know. Drink a beer, rejoice. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. What do you? I'm not drinking anything today. Oh man, my shoulder's all screwed up. I'm not drinking anything today except tea. I drank an iced coffee earlier, but now I'm on tea. I wish I was drinking. I did want to talk to you about there's a drink in this area called Boilo. Now I think I'd mentioned it before, but it ties in because it would really tie into like moonshining. Because if you've never heard of Boilo, it's a coal. I live in a coal region in Pennsylvania, and the Appalachian Mountains go through here, or Appalachia, as you would say in other areas. Mm-hmm. And that's where moonshine was big. The base ingredient for Boilo, which is where I'm from, is the base ingredient is moonshine, and then you have other things too, like you have like.
Now, what's the deal
and
what's the deal with is moonshine like just pure alcohol? I'm not really. Like when I was in high school, I drank a lot of Everclear, and that was 190 proof alcohol. I mean, it was
right.
What's that like 85% or something? 85% alcohol. So it was moonshine. Like, God damn it, Moose! Would you stop making noise over there? Can you just lay on my puzzle peacefully and not fucking make a noise, please? My dog Moose is really driving me crazy right now. But is moonshine 100% alcohol, or is it like I mean, well, I don't think anything. It can't be 100% alcohol, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the percentage is, on any of these things. I'm not a big drinker. I'm really not. So I don't know, what I don't know what these things are. What people are like, oh, it's some, whatever proof. I'm like, what? Like, I'm lost, man. You're speaking Greek to me, but from a little bit of, look it up. I don't know. I don't know the proof. I just know a little bit of where it came from, where the stuff came from and, why it was popular. Came over from like Ireland and, shit like that.
Tell me about Boilo. What?
Well, Boilo is, it's like I said, it's definitely a. Did you ever hear of a hot toddy?
I feel like I must have at some point, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, are you getting the dog? Are you letting the dog out now? This dog is being so disruptive, man. Okay, so I started talking on the one podcast. I don't know if it was the first one or if it was the second one. Started talking about Boilo, which it's a Wikipedia has it listed as like a variation of a traditional Lithuanian liqueur called krupnik or krupnikas. So it'll be like it's pretty much it's moonshine with like different like fruit and stuff in it, like oranges, lemons, spices, stuff like that.
It was the first. It was the first wine cooler.
It could have been. It could have been. Yeah. So on Wikipedia they have many modern recipes replace homebrewed moonshine with blended whiskey, rye, or grain alcohol. They have different stuff like. Most of the ones that I've had up here, and it's funny because when we're both fans of Justified, Mags from Justified, who I'll get to in a second, apparently kept drinking apple pie. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the apple pie moonshine. Of course I do.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what Boilo is up here. It's pretty much the same goddamn thing. And it's really big around Christmas time. Like, I have a bottle of it downstairs. I don't know why the fuck I'm not drinking it right now talking about it. I should go down, heat it the fuck up, and drink it.
Go down and grab some.
I'm good.
Listen,
I'm all right,
listen. Can I go slightly off topic for just a second? Because my chick and I loved Justified so much, and we like the character of Mags in Justified. I don't know if you ever realized this, but that lady who plays that character is in like nearly every show on the planet. I
just watched her in something else.
She is in so many shows. That lady, and she's like, we're watching Dexter right now. And she's in Dexter, and like. We're every time we see her, no matter what show it is, we call her Mags. That we don't know her name; it's just Mags.
The one that plays her one son, I believe it was. He's the big guy. He's like big burly dude with a beard.
Right.
He's in everything too, man. I'm watching Shameless. He's in Shameless. I'm watching. He was in Orange Is the New Black. He was in Sneaky Pete. He was in that. Man, this guy's in everything. It's a great cast too, though. Justified had a great cast, but you'll see a lot of these people, all over the place. Like the dude who played Boyd Crowder, what's his name? Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins, yeah.
Well, I think Mags. I think she's based off of a real character from from that town, from that county.
From Kentucky.
Do you remember what the county was called? Yeah, Harlan County.
Harlan County, yeah.
Yeah, I have to look it up real quick. This is based off Maggie something from Harlan County. Maggie Bailey. Okay, here we go. Maggie Bailey. She was called the Queen of the Mountain Bootleggers. Yeah, there's a real woman named Maggie Bailey, Queen of the. She died at 101. She was 101 years old when she died.
Wow. From
Harlan County, Kentucky. Yeah. So I think that's who they. I'm speculating here, but I think that's who they fucking took Mags from. It has to be. You know, come on. Her name is Maggie.
It was the whole show Justified was based on a book by a famous Western writer named Elmore Leonard. I mean, if you've ever heard Elmore Leonard, he wrote a short story called Fire in the Hole, and that's what Justified is based on. The whole show is based on Fire in the Hole by Elmore Leonard. So, I mean, that's just a little fact. But I read another book by Elmore Leonard called The Hot Kid. It kind of sounds nasty, but it's a really, but it's a really good book. But he writes a lot of good westerns and law sort of books. I don't know. He's really a creative guy. Anyway, everybody, I don't think I need to tell.
AKA Fancy Dancing Daisy Boy.
Yeah, Fancy Dancing Daisy Boy. Dancing with the Fancy Daisy Boy. What the fuck was it? Fancy Dancing with the Daisy Boy.
Fancy Dancing Daisy Boy.
There was some other drinks. I found this blog, and I've been reading the crap out of it. I really enjoy it. It's called Buddies in the Saddle at Blogspot. If you get a chance to look at it, I know you've looked at it, but I'm telling for anybody else who wants to look at it, there's a blog called Buddies in the Saddle, which is also a little bit gay, but at Blogspot, and they have.
There's nothing. This is not a homophobic podcast.
No, of course I love the gays. I am one.
Yeah.
So.
Please keep going.
There's a.
Please.
They have a lot. They have a lot of. I'm looking at down this list of. It's basically an Old West glossary of strong drinks. It's not just drinks. Okay. It's like bar.
And what is this? What's it called again?
Buddiesinthesaddle.blogspot.com.
Yeah. All right. Buddies in the Saddle.
Buddies in the Saddle. I don't know.
Wow. All right. Okay. So check this out. So I go to type it up, and apparently it was already up on my thing at some point. Mm-hmm. I was already looking at it.
You like you some Buddies in the Saddle.
That's a little suspicious. Wonder if Buckaroo Brian has been looking at Buddies in the Saddle.
I was looking at Buckaroo Brian. That's hilarious. I was looking at some of the glossary items under strong drinks, and they're not all just drinks. They're like they're like saloon terms from the Old West. I'm like, if I just go down and click one, there's one that says blue blotter. A blue blotter, one who drinks heavily. But when a man's making a blue blotter of himself, things don't look the same to him. A man who's drinking heavily, a blue blotter. I guess that's me, right? Right now, actually.
Or another blotter. One. Here's one that's a beer jerker, which is somebody who's a drunkard.
Yeah. Well, there I am too. Yeah. Look, and you know what they called bartenders booze clerks, which is kind of funny. Booze clerk.
Where's fat guy? Do they have anything for fat men in here?
They called liquor budge.
Did they really though? Did they really call it that?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We're reading it for this. For all I know, is they're sitting there like, yo, let's just write a whole glossary of terms to just fuck with people.
Yeah, I know, right? They probably did.
I have an idea. We are going to go through all of our podcasts, and we're going to make a list of glossary terms that we fucking made up.
Yeah.
Like tin whiskey, pebble in the boot.
They also called it a corn juice, apparently. Corn juice.
Corn juice.
That makes more sense.
That one. Oh, man. To drink means to liquidate. We passed into the bar and liquidated. I don't think anybody ever said that. I think they're just making this up for this goddamn blog.
They might be.
I'm shaking my fist. I'm shaking my fist at you, Buddies in the Saddle.
Buddies in the Saddle. If you get a chance, go check out Buddies in the Saddle blogspot or buddiesinthesaddle.blogspot.com. It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff
fine.
on there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could have just said a blog spot. They'll figure it out. Yeah, there's that. There's another one that I was checking out too. That since we're going to plug, I have to find the other one, man. I have so many damn pages open all over the place that I have to click through. Just look at a different. I was trying to look at some different. Here we go. Legends of America, legendsofamerica.com. Man, this place is everything. Legends, lore, that has, ghost stuff, which eventually we're going to have to talk ghosts.
I'd like to do a whole Smoke Wagon podcast about the lore of the West and how many ghost stories there were and how freaked out cowboys were of the supernatural, and not just ghosts and stuff, but Indian stuff. They really believed Indians.
Oh yeah,
had powers and stuff. There was one I was reading Lonesome Dove. I know that's a fiction book, but there was one story where a guy, he believed that the Indians owned, the Native Americans owned the moon, and they could hop back and forth from the mountains to the moon. And and he said if there was dialogue in the book where he was like, I believe if we ever got to the moon, we'd find Indians there. It's fucking crazy. It's a fucking crazy way to think, but back then they didn't really know much either. So,
well, when we were researching, different drinks and stuff, which we'll do a lot of our homework. That's the one good thing about the show is that, we'll speculate, we'll have fun with it, and we'll actually, look shit up too, just to be curious. And so I was trying to look up what the fuck kind of drinks were people drinking, back then, and a lot of it was just really warm, skunky fucking beer and hard liquor, Well,
yeah, they didn't really have a way to keep it cold, did they? So they're just drinking piss water.
You could if you buried shit, keep it in a cool place, because that's what they do. That's what they do up in the mountains. You dig big holes.
Isn't there a way to keep stuff cold with salt?
No, I know they would. I don't know about cold, but I know they would keep the meat fresh with salt. You salt the meat, and it could fucking last months. They would, keep meat hanging, as long as it's hanging high enough, and the bears and different animals aren't getting it. I know you can keep meat that way. I don't know. I don't think so about keeping it cold. I know you keep it preserved that way. Man, imagine fucking eating shit like that, and having high blood pressure. Man, that had to fucking suck back then.
I think every cowboy in the West died when they were 45. So
yeah,
another fun word for whiskey is nose paint.
No.
Nose paint. They call it.
I think they were probably calling something else nose paint too.
They did have some powders back then, Yeah.
So I was trying to. I was just trying to find something, and I couldn't find a whole lot because you weren't getting a whole lot of you weren't going to get it fancy mixed drinks. You're pretty much getting beer. And
you know what they called what they called a poor quality beer?
What's that?
A swipe.
A swipe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
If it was a bad beer, or if they didn't enjoy it, just grab a swipe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting all this. I'm getting all this from the Buddies in the Saddle blogspot blog.
I just imagine. Yeah, I just imagine it being a lot of warm, thick beer, like they would have over in Ireland. Something. I wouldn't imagine that you're gonna have a nice cold fucking Bud Light.
Right.
I just see it being some warm and skunky and some shit that you'd fucking spit out.
I think the end result in the West was the primary reason they drank was the end result. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody really drank liquor or beer because they thought it tasted good. I think they just wanted to get drunk. Which I can't blame a guy. I feel you.
Probably. You have to look at their fucking hardships. The type of, especially coming off the Civil War. You know, like these guys just get, you know, they're just coming off of that, and it wasn't exactly easy for them, man. No.
You know, another thing too that kind of it makes me a little bit sad, honestly. But one of the primary resources that the Cowboys traded with the Indians, well, they traded pelts, obviously, and they and guns. But the big resource that Cowboys had to trade with Indians was liquor, and Cowboys are like Indians. Once they discovered that we had liquor, you know, that the settlers, the guys who were colonizing America had this drink, this fucking firewater that would basically, you know, tear down your whole world, you know, and you know, make you see sideways and everything. I mean, they probably thought it was like magic juice. But now, even now to this day, like I'm growing up in Oklahoma in Native America, they had like Indians. They have this stigma about them. Native Americans in Oklahoma, they have this stigma of being drunks, like alcoholics. Yeah. And not that they all are. Of course, like I said, I grew up down there, so there's a lot of them that aren't. But I mean, they have this this thing that's constantly attached to them that Indians are drunks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Irish, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Same way. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, it's like if you get you know, if you're going to get offended for having that, then I guess I'm going to get offended. I don't really drink that much, and I'm 83% Irish. Mm-hmm. You know, according to Ancestry DNA tests, I am 83% Irish.
Well, I'm quite a bit Irish too, and I drink a boatload often. I'm drunk,
and I don't drink that much. So
I'm quite drunk right now.
But there you go. But the thing is that, you know, it's like don't be so offended if that's, you know, that's the stereotype. Yeah, you can't get offended over stereotypes. Well, you don't need to embrace it, but just
it.
If it doesn't speak for you, then you can't really get mad at it.
Be proud. I suppose we should take our first break. And as promised from last week, we do have a little short history of the West, and then later on we're going to give you some trail notes. Right now, it's time for our short history. So enjoy.
Smoke Wagon presents A Short History of the West.
Hi, I'm Ox Ford. And I am not a black guy. But the person that I'm about to tell you about, well, he was. See, back before Clayton Moore was even thought of, or Captain Reed for that matter, Bass Reeves was the name that made the ne'er-do-wells and road agents of the Old West more afraid than smallpox, cholera, and venereal diseases combined. While some dismissed the claim that Reeves was the inspiration for the legendary Lone Ranger, the man's place in history is undisputed. Born an Arkansas slave in 1838, Reeves got his surname from his owner, Arkansas politician William Steele Reeves. Bass became the companion of old Reeves' son George, not the guy who wound up being Superman, but a man who became the Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives and died of rabies. George and Bass Reeves fought for the Confederacy in the Civil War, but soon parted company. Some say Reeves caught wind of how many free and escaped slaves there were. Others say he beat up his owner's son after a car game. Either way, Bass took refuge in Seminole and Creek Indian Territory, where he developed his shooting skills and garnered a reputation for being deadly with a pistol. After Reconstruction, Reeves married, started a farm back in Arkansas, and had 10 children. But Bass wasn't long for the farm life. With his knowledge of native languages, a known commodity, he was deputized by U.S. Marshal James F. Fagan to help clean up the nearby Indian territories. And clean up he did. Bass Reeves cut through that Indian territory like a utility knife through a 10-point buck. Always riding on a white stallion, Reeves is credited with over 3,000 arrests, including having to bring one of his own sons to justice and 14 killings in self-defense. This has been a short history of the West.
Thank you, Ox, for that short history of the West. That Reeves, he sounded like a real mean motor scooter.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a it's funny. There's a TV, and if you're not familiar with it, it's on Hulu. It's show about these guys that go back in time. They have time machine, which there's a ton of time travel shows these days. But in the one episode, I think it's episode 12, they actually go back and you get to meet Bass Reeves and the guy who apparently was the inspiration for Tonto. Yeah, and I also watched. There's another show. It's called Gunslingers: Legends of the West, and they had an episode of Bass Reeves on there too. Very interesting man. Very interesting. Especially for that time.
You just said something about a lot of shows about time travel, and this is a little off topic, but I just saw a preview for a new time travel TV show the other day, and it's about a guy who builds a time machine, goes back in time, and accidentally brings Jack the Ripper back to the United States, like in his time machine, like he comes back. It's called Time After Time. So I guess the show the show is about just him hunting Jack the Ripper, only in contemporary America. And I don't know. I just saw that.
All right, day. So break down fourth wall. Anybody knows me knows my real name's Jack.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ox.
No. You didn't say. I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
My initials are JTR, and my name's Jack.
Oh, really?
So I always had this weird thing with Jack the Ripper. If you go in my bedroom, it looks like I'm a psychopath because I have a bookshelf full of serial killers, and I have a bunch of Jack the Ripper books. I grew up being a Jack the Ripper
It's
fan.
not that much different from what we do now, Ox. It's not that much different because we're crazy about these old outlaws and their stories and the legends behind them and everything. And these guys were basically murderers. They were
not only. Yeah, not only that, but it was taking place at the same time. Jack the Ripper was the 1880s.
Right. Yeah.
So it was during the Old West time. It was just over in England, know. And then you had another one, which apparently Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be playing him. There's another serial killer called H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, and I know all about him. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's really interesting, like while you have these serial killers killing these.
There's a lot of speculation. There has been a lot of speculation that the serial killer H.H. Holmes, the American, was Jack the Ripper. Have you ever heard anything about that?
Yeah. Not too much. I've heard, you always hear different things. You hear, it could have been somebody from the royal family. You hear somebody that was actually Jewish, even though, like of what was, on the wall about the Jews. Mm-hmm. You hear all these different things. Some people think it may have been a painter because of something that was painted in the one picture that only the painter would have known. All these weird rumors and stuff of who it is. Here's the thing. I don't ever want to know.
Right.
I don't ever want to know.
It's the mystery is half the coolness about it. Yeah, it's nice.
I don't ever want to know. I mean, I want to know. I want to know personally, but I want to be the only one that knows. Like, I know, but I won't tell anybody.
I have a quick.
I would let you know.
Oh yeah, thank you. You just tell me, nobody else. We'll share the secret together.
Maybe Buckaroo Brian.
You can tell him too, but don't tell him the whole story. Just tell him half of it and be like, well, if you want to know the rest of it,
I'll give him multiple choice.
Yeah.
I'll give him like a list of people that it could be, and that's where I'll leave it.
You should read some of those fiction things that Buckaroo Brian wrote for us. Those were hysterical. But if you want to, if not, that's fine. But I wanted to say I was looking at our Twitter the other day, and actually just yesterday, and I saw that you posted. I was looking at the Twitter feed. I saw that Ox posted a picture that his mama sent him, old Mama Ford, and it's a picture of his first pair of boots. And I have a couple questions. Yeah. First off, I don't know if I'm the only one, but at first glance, when I look at this picture on our Twitter...
I have to bring it up now. Way to warn me. I didn't know this was coming, so...
When I look at this picture on our Twitter at Smokewagon Radio on Twitter, it looks like... at first glance, it looks like the cowboy is leaning off the side of his horse and pissing on a dog.
Pissing on the dog. I see that now.
It looks like he's leaning over off the side of the horse and pissing on his dog.
I think if you look around his neck, I think it's supposed to be a leash. So I think it's supposed to be his dog is running in front of him on a leash.
Yeah, well,
is what I think that's supposed to be.
It looks like he's pissing on the dog.
But it does.
Yeah,
it looks like he's leaning and pissing on the dog's neck.
Yeah. And then at the top, I'm not sure what those weird letters are, but it looks like an ISIS boot. You look like you wore ISIS boots.
I think it's Kryptonian.
It looks like ISIS boots. It looks like the same shit you would see on the ISIS flag. Those boots. So if
I don't know. I was trying to decipher those two. Let me stop for a second. So I think the one is supposed to be an upside down horseshoe, possibly.
Yeah, totally.
The
ISIS.
other one. Could be Red River, like the two R's, or an octopus head, or I don't know what that's supposed to be. Then I think it's supposed to be a butt, like a woman bending over. I think it's a woman bending over, or is that there's something in the middle too, like a Z, and then there's like a Y. I don't understand what these fucking. I don't know, man. Look. I had this boot probably. It says circa 80. I was born in 1980, so but I'm guessing I had these boots after that because unless I had a really big foot then. I mean, I wear a 13 now, but fuck, I don't know, man. It has to be. It's probably later than that. It's probably about.
If you want to look at the picture, just go to our Twitter account, which is at Smokewagon Radio on Twitter. And you'll see this old picture that Ox's mama sent him. And of his very first pair of boots, and it's adorable. It's adorable, except that it's got a cowboy pissing on a dog, and it's got ISIS writing at the top.
It's a leash, and it's probably
He's
Kryptonian.
Definitely pissing on that dog.
And that's by the way, that I think that's paint that got on the front of it, just in case you're like, oh, what's that white stuff? It's paint. All right, okay. It's paint.
Whatever you say.
And there's only one boot. She can only find the one. My mom happens to have lots of shit of mine from when I was a baby. Like for years, we lost a lot of stuff too in a flood. We had stuff in the storage locker when we were moving, and a lot of shit got ruined by a flood. But anyway, I used to have this fire helmet growing up. It was a red, fire helmet, and it said Jake on it. Right now, I had this thing from never questioned why it said Jake on this fucking hat. Right. And finally, one day, I go to my mom. This is only a few years ago, and I'm well in my 30s. Okay, like when I asked this question, and I go, like, Mom, why the fuck did my hat say Jake? Like what? Like I never asked that for some reason. And she's like, oh well, that was you. And I go, wait, what? And she goes, well, your grandma bought that for you, and she didn't want to call you Jack. She wanted to call you Jake, so she wrote Jake on the hat. I go, wait,
I'm
what?
Jake?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what I said. I go, I'm Jake? Like, I'm the Jake that I've always been wondering all these years who the fuck
like,
Jake was, and
who is this mysterious Jake?
Yeah. Yeah, then I found out I was Jake. I just thought I had Jake's hat, and apparently it was my hat.
That is rich.
It's crazy, man. Because see, my real name is Jack is a nickname for John. So my real name is John, okay? But I don't go by John. Never go by John. Nobody in my family calls me John. My grandpa did, but it's because my grandmother would call me John Boy from whatever the fuck that show was. I don't know, what was that? What was John Boy from? Was
I
that
don't know.
House?
I have no fucking clue.
It was one of those. Fucking asshole. I don't go by John because my cousin's name is John. My cousin Johnny got killed, and out of respect, I just don't like to go by John. But John Boy was from what the hell was he from? The Waltons. The fucking Waltons. There was a character named John Boy. So my grandmother would always call me John Boy, right? Kind of as a joke. And then when she died, my grandpa, he always called me Hunts. Because Hunts is German for John. He always called me Hunts, and he would fucking start calling me John Boy afterwards. But they're the only, other than like doctors or fucking
That's a
teachers.
cool name, Hunts. I'd go by Hunts.
Hunts.
Yeah.
Always call me Hunts. And then he started calling me John Boy.
In Russian, that would probably sound like Hunts.
Cunts. They're like cunts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Cunts. I get it. Like a vagina. You were talking about a
Yeah,
vagina.
I was talking about the vagina, yeah. Like
Yeah,
cunts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cunts. Yeah. So my so anyway, yeah. Jesus. But every picture when I was a baby, every picture, man, it always said like Jackie or little Jackie on it, because my family is in South Philly. Everybody said if you're Jack, you're Jackie. It's weird. It's so convoluted. Like, why does this kid have 1,000 fucking names? He's Jack. He's Jackie. He's little Jackie. He's John. He's Jake.
He's cunts.
Yeah, he's cunts. I was even called the Fancy Dancing Daisy Boy.
The fancy dancing daisy boy.
Like, why the fuck is it? Like, seriously, growing up, you have 1,000 goddamn fucking nicknames. You know, it gets a little confused. And it's still, to this day, like, people are like, why should your name say Jackie? I'm like, well, because my name's Jack. And then I'm like, well, my real name's John. Well, why the fuck? Why? You just said it was Jack.
Just call me
you
cunt.
know. Yeah, just call me fucking. I am a cunt, so. It's very confusing. Who gives a fuck about my goddamn name? But anyway.
I certainly don't, Ox.
Oh, yeah, now Ox. Now I'm Ox.
Oh,
But we
God.
already went over why I'm Ox. So I'm sticking with Ox. I like it. I've been introducing myself to people as Ox. I'm fucking I'm just going by. I'm just going by Ox now, man. I like it.
All right, man. Well, let's move into our next break real quick. We're going to do a little quick...
Break?
Yeah, another break.
Break?
Yeah, we're going to do another break. We're going to do a
We
trail...
didn't even talk about shit.
We can talk about it after. Let's just do the last one right now.
All right.
All right, let's do it. Yeehaw, hang gang. It's time for trail notes.
Fact or fiction?
Number 1. The toes of cowboy boots were square or rounded, and this did not change to pointed until the 1950s. The straight lines of stitches across the top of the toe of the cowboy boot are called a toe wrinkle.
Fact or fiction?
Number 2. During the years of the expansion, it was not uncommon for cowboys to die from infections gained from coming in contact with poison ivy or poison oak. The apothecaries at the time only offered them molasses mixed with salt to spread on the ration.
Fact or fiction?
And number 3. In 1855, Congress assigned $30,000 for the buying and shipping of camels from Egypt. The idea was that these humpback animals would fare better than horses in the hot and dry climate of Southwest America.
Fact or fiction?
So you're gonna have to tell me, Hang Gang, are these 3 things facts or are they fiction? Well, the first one was... I can't even remember.
Well, the first one was actually 2.
Oh, yeah. You give me too much shit about it. Cowboy boots were originally squared or rounded, and they were never pointed until 1950, and that they called the stitching on the front of the square-toed boots a toe wrinkle. So, if you said that is a fact, well, god damn it, you're right. You're right. You got me. Jack knew it was a fact because he looked it up on Google like a son of a bitch. Jack, what do you have to say for yourself,
well,
Ox?
Well, I'd say stop calling me Jack. We're going to abandon that name.
Sorry, cunt.
We're going to abandon that name. We're not going by cunt or Hunts or Jackie or John. We're just going by Ox on this show. Ox and Ox only, god damn it.
All right.
Yeah, so I did. I Googled that. I Googled the first one. And I was very surprised to see that. That I don't know if I buy that though. That there were no pointy shoes until the 1950s.
Yeah, it does seem weird, doesn't it? Like when you think of cowboy,
just because
when,
of cowboy
when you
move-
think of
cowboy
cowboy
movies.
boots, you think of that pointed tip on cowboy boots, and I guess it was never even around until the 1950s. What it makes you wonder, why the hell did you put that point there? What did you do? Why? I mean, why?
I hate the point too.
I don't
hate the
like it
point
either.
because it's
my cowboy
when
cowboy
you'll-
boots that I have a pair of Justin cowboy boots, and they are square tipped with a toe wrinkle. Apparently, that's what it's called.
when it's funny, man. I never really told you this before, but I would love to be a cobbler. If you know,
Yeah, I know. No, listen, I deliver to a. By the way, breaking down the fourth wall again. I carry mail, and I deliver to a shoe store. And those guys are legit cobblers. They work on boots and shoes and all sorts of stuff. But
well, there's a place right near me that this girl that I know, she was telling me, she's like, "Yeah, if there's any openings, I'll let you know." Which I think is really fucking cool, man. To like resole boots and shit. That's what they do a lot too. They resole a lot of old boots.
By the way,
I think
the Cobbler, another terrific Adam Sandler movie.
No. You're saying that you're being shitty. You're being a liar. That's actually a good movie.
Well,
with
did you
Method
like
Man.
it?
I don't want to hear it.
I've never seen it.
I loved it.
I've never seen it in my life.
No, it's good. It's another
All right.
dude. Oh my god.
All right,
It's
all
great.
right. You know what? I will
It's
watch.
probably I'll say this. It's probably the only Adam Sandler movie I fucking like.
I will watch The Cobbler. I'm gonna
I
watch
love
The
it.
Cobbler. By the way, that's not our movie of the week. We have a different one
That's
planned
not our
for
movie of the week.
But I'm going to watch The
That's
Cobbler
not
for
our movie.
you. I'm going to watch The Cobbler for you, Ox. The second fact was during the years of the expansion, it was not uncommon for cowboys to die from infections gained from coming in contact with poison ivy or poison oak. The apothecaries at the time could only offer them molasses mixed with salt to spread on the rashes. Is that a fact? Or is it fiction?
Well, I'm gonna say. I mean, it sounds very. I didn't look this up, and it sounds like very well informed, very well written. So, because of that, I'm gonna say fiction.
You are correct. That was
I
completely
also
made
know
up.
that because you told me that earlier.
Yeah, I did tell you that. See how good we are at acting? We're so good.
Oh shucks.
Completely untrue. Yeah, I just made that up. I didn't read anything about it.
And the third one, I actually did know the answer to.
The third one is in 1855, Congress assigned $30,000 for the buying and shipping of camels from Egypt. The idea was that these humpback animals would fare better than horses in the hot and dry climate of Southwest America. And that, Jack, Ox, whatever your name is
fact.
that's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
100% fact. I've read about that quite a few times, and I always thought it was really cool because I could just imagine seeing a cowboy on a camel, and I want that. I want a logo. I want a logo with a cowboy on a camel because
I'm gonna make you a shirt that says "cunt on a camel."
cut on a camel. All right, camel cut.
Camel cunt.
It's the old camel cunt. Call me CC. So we had no, we're not supposed to talk. We're not supposed to talk about show notes.
No, we're not. We had somebody
We're not supposed to
who
talk.
wrote us a strongly worded letter about how we shouldn't mention our show notes during the
I'm
show.
not allowed to mention show notes, but we did. I do like some kind of order, and I didn't know that we were going into the break right there. And I actually did want I wanted the Trail Notes Factor Fiction to come right. You know, I wanted that to be the last one, but you know, what are you going to do? So I did have a question for you, though. I did have a question for you that if you had back in the day, back in the Old West, and you had to name a saloon or a brothel, what would you name it? What would you name it?
Well, first off, I think I would probably name it after a woman. Like you know what I think I would want to call it, like like Lucy's legs or something like that. Like, something, because if I'm being a businessman, I would want, I think more cowboys are probably walking into a saloon looking for, instead of alcohol. They might want to go. They might want to go into a place and drink a little bit, and maybe listen to the piano, as they say it in Lonesome Dove. Every time they spell the word piano in Lonesome Dove, the book, it's spelled piano.
Really?
Yeah. But I think really what they want to go in and get drunk, and they want to get laid, Ox. They want to get some poontang. So I'd probably name it after a woman. I'd be like Lacey's legs, or Thor's thighs, or, Candy's
You're
cunt.
going to go with the alliteration.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
alliteration. I'm a writer. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to be honest, I had all week to sit on this question, and I didn't come up with anything. I didn't come up with anything.
What the fuck did you bring it up for, Ox?
Well, I just wanted to put you on the spot just to see what you had. I wanted to see if you had anything good, and hopefully that you could carry this and you could take it somewhere.
Well, the answer is no.
No. So basically, we don't know what we would name our saloon. Bro, he's going to call it fucking Lucy's legs.
Thor's thighs.
I'm going to call mine Ethel's uterus.
My goodness.
It wouldn't be Ethel's uterus. That doesn't even work.
I don't even know if they use the word uterus back then.
Maybe like the wet your whistle.
The wet your whistle?
Wet your whistle, yeah. Maybe the fucking, trying to think of a good watering hole fucking name. Oh man, the brown watery hole. Waving it no.
The brown.
No, they might confuse that with something else, like that waterfall of hate that I had earlier.
Oh no!
All right. Well, I have another question then.
All right.
What about a sidekick? If you had to choose a sidekick, like you're out, you're a cowboy, you're on your horse, you got your rig on you, you got your gun, your hat, your whole thing, you're right. But you're gonna have a sidekick. What kind of sidekick would you have? It could be a person, it could be an animal, it could just be the horse itself. But if you wanted something additional,
okay,
what would your sidekick be? Here's
my answer. It has to do with I have some stipulations. First off, is a sidekick? Is it always completely and utterly and no questions asked loyal to you, and that's it, or can it, or will it be could it turn against you?
Anything could turn against you. It could, of course. Could Robin turn on Batman? Of course.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is...
Could Tonto turn on a Lone Ranger? Of course. There's that old joke. What do you mean, we, white man? You know what I mean?
Well, what I'm thinking is this. If I had a sidekick and I knew that it was a loyal sidekick and, we were going to kick so much ass together and I knew...
For the sake of argument, for the most part, yes, you're loyal.
Okay, then I would choose, a grizzly bear. I would have a grizzly bear with me, and that would be my sidekick. But if I was being a rational man, and if I had to pick a sidekick in the West, I would choose a beautiful woman, because beautiful women, a beautiful deadly woman, a woman who could get close to somebody, could talk somebody up, get close to them, and then wouldn't have any qualms about just putting a derringer in his mouth and, blowing the brains out of the back of his head.
Right.
So I'd choose either a grizzly bear or a beautiful woman.
Right.
Or were you talking about a sidekick like an actual person from...
No.
Just any sidekick?
No, just any sidekick, yeah. I would choose an Indian with a cleft palate.
What? What the fuck does a cleft palate have to do with it?
Well, he would have a cleft palate. He would probably have a lisp, too.
Why?
Well, I don't know. He was born that way.
Jesus. But what's the usefulness of it? See, I'm a practical man. I choose a grizzly bear because grizzly bears like can kill the shit out of people, and beautiful women, they can get close to them, for murdering time. What the fuck does an Indian with a cleft palate have to offer you?
Ben is a really good hunter.
His name is Ben?
His name is Ben. He has a cleft palate and a lisp.
You've done.
He also has a club foot. He has a club foot, but he doesn't really talk that much about it.
Foot.
He does. He's really good at hunting. Like his bow and arrow skills are outrageous.
See, now I am following you a little bit. I can get down on somebody once you tell me what their usefulness is, and if their usefulness is the fact that he is a great hunter, then you don't have to worry about, because now that I think about it, if I had a bear or a beautiful woman, like what the fuck am I going to eat? My bear? My woman? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you have an Indian named Ben with a cleft palate, and he's a great hunter. I mean, he can fucking shoot a rabbit, and all of a sudden you got fucking rabbit on the plains.
Yeah.
You know what?
If we can't find food,
you know what?
I can kill Ben.
I want Ben. You can have the woman, and I'll take Ben.
I don't want the woman. I want Ben.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take Ben.
Ben whistles a lot when he speaks, and it's very funny. He keeps you entertained too.
No,
so there is usefulness.
I can't do that.
You think that you're so pragmatic, but I don't think you are. See, I not only have a guy who's a great hunter, but he makes me laugh every time he tries to say S words.
Yeah,
and it's funny because he's Indian and he speaks with a fucking accent anyway.
You know what? You can have Ben, because if I heard somebody whistle every time they said an S, I'd probably shoot him, and then I wouldn't eat him.
Yeah.
I'd leave him for my grizzly bear to eat.
Yeah, it's really strange. Ben's not real.
Old Brokeback Ben.
Ben's not real. I just made him up.
What?
But if he were real, that would be the story. That would be how it all happened.
Wow.
That would be everything. Ben would have a club foot, a cleft palate, a lisp,
and
a leaky eye.
Here's the thing. Like, if you and cleft palate Indian Ben ran across...
Ben would also have a sidekick. He would have a badass eagle.
No, you didn't say anything about two sidekicks. But, well, I guess you didn't say your sidekick couldn't have a sidekick, huh?
I didn't say that. I didn't mention it, but...
You know what? My bear is also going to have a badass eagle.
Really?
Yeah. My bear and my eagle. And if we ran across you and Ben and his badass eagle on the plains, I'm pretty sure we could probably take you down. But then Ben is a great hunter, so
What's your eagle's name?
Jeez, that's a good question. What would I call my badass eagle?
You don't even know. You don't even know. You don't even have a name. I have a name for my badass eagle. His name is Spiegel.
You know what I'd Spiegel? You know what I'd call my eagle? I'd call it Thunder.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Thunder's not as good as Spiegel. Spiegel the eagle. Spiegel the eagle could fuck Thunder up.
What the fuck are we even talking about?
What do you mean, what are we talking about? This is our goddamn podcast. This is what we talk about. We talk about fancy dancing Daisy Boys and Spiegel the eagle.
Daisy Boys and Spiegel the eagle. We're all about alliteration today. And rhyming. That's how we roll.
Okay. What if you had what if you had to, since I'm in the question asking mood, what if you had to hunt down a killer?
I like them. I like your questions. Keep them coming.
Okay. If you had to hunt down a killer, which character from a Western would you take with you?
If I had to hunt down a killer, like an outlaw, could I take another outlaw?
Yeah, of course you could.
Well, just for the sake of, like, family heritage and, like, wanting to get to know him better a little bit, I would take Cole Younger with me. I would take Cole Younger. And plus, Cole Younger was also in the guerrillas. He served in the army, and he was just a natural-born fighter. So I would take Cole with me. It'd be Cole and Cole. The Coles.
Are we going to do real, or are we going to go with just real characters? Are we going to do, like, fictional characters only? Like,
well, the way you put the question, it sounded like somebody from the Wild West.
Characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like,
okay.
I guess you could use somebody from like
character.
You could use somebody from like a Western film or something too if you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. When you say character, to me, character implies fictional.
Well, yeah, I mean an individual, a person from the Wild West, or a character from a movie.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know, man. Who would I take with me? I'm trying to think, like, who would I take?
Ben would probably get left behind, though, right? I don't know. He's not much of it. He's just a good hunter.
Ben sucks, to be honest.
Yeah.
Don't fucking tell him. Don't tell him.
I never liked that son of a bitch anyway.
He trips over his club foot all the time. His fucking eye. We were making chili, and his eye kept dripping into the chili.
Yeah, he kind of smells, too, really.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, stop it. And then he was just, I kept making fun of him. I was making fun of him, and he was going, stop it. And he kept whistling, and I'm like, I said, Ben, you need to fucking just
stop it. With the fucking Ben.
It's ridiculous.
Stop it.
Stop making fun of me. Stop it. And I said, Ben, this is ridiculous. But anyway, I don't know, man. I don't know, like, what kind of... I'd probably want to pal around. You know who I want to pal around with?
Who's that? Who's in your hang gang?
Holiday.
Doc Holliday, of course.
Doc Holliday, but from Tombstone. Val Kilmer's version.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer's version.
Not the original, like, just regular dentist / gunslinger. No, you want Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer from Tombstone. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That guy is...
But not sick, though. Not sick.
Right. No tuberculosis, though. Just him, like, in his prime. One of my favorite parts... I'm
in my prime.
Yeah, I'm in my prime. Not me. You must be Doc Holliday. I'm in my prime. No, one of my favorite parts from that movie, and we're going to talk about Tombstone fucking again for the third podcast in a row. It'll probably be every single podcast. But one of my favorite parts from that movie was he's down by the river, Doc Holliday is, and he's sick and he's coughing up blood, and that other cowboy asks him, he's like, "Shit, Doc, what are you doing here? You should be home in bed somewhere." And he goes, "Wyatt Earp is my friend." And the guy goes, "Well, hell, I got lots of friends." And Doc Holliday goes, "I don't." So he's like loyal to a fault. Like that part in that movie gets me so emotional because I'm just like, he loves that dude.
I feel like that's that. No, seriously. And I was thinking about that, dude. I feel that is our friendship. Let's hear me out, because you don't like anyone.
I don't.
And you like me. Mm-hmm. But that just proves that you're a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, I'm quite fond of you, but I don't get along with people at all. I'm a real son of a bitch to deal with at work or in my personal life or at any place. I really am. I really am a grade A son of a bitch. But I really think that proves. I think like it just shows your character, that if you don't like anybody and you like me, it just shows how much of a person I am and you are. That means you're a psychopath and I'm just a piece of shit. I just think you're hot.
Well, look.
You want to talk about?
I'm getting text messages.
Oh no, not during the show.
Oh yeah, I know. From the lady.
You want to talk about our movie?
The movie we're making?
No. Yeah, the movie that we're making. What is it? What's the name of it?
It's called Rump Roast 4.
The Daisy Boys.
Yeah. Rump Roast 4.
Rump Roast 4, and then a colon, and says the Daisy Years.
Yeah. We'll talk about the movie. So, okay, before we get into it, I want to say that I am going to rate El Dorado. I'm going to give it... On a scale of 0, Ridiculous 6, to 10, Tombstone, how many shiny badges do you give El Dorado, the John Wayne movie from 1966? Well, if I gave Nevada Smith a 3, I'm going to give this a 4.5. I'll do a half.
No, we don't do halves. We don't do halves.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 5 then. I'll give it a 5. I'll tell you why. Because I laughed of how ridiculous the dubbing was. Mm-hmm. It was completely ridiculous. But the quality of it for 1966 was great.
It
like,
really
did you
was.
see how
the film
how crisp
quality
it
was unbelievable? Yeah. I don't know if it was
just
remastered or something. It looked great.
Yeah. I'm watching. I'm like, whoa, this is like the best looking fucking film I'm probably going to see. Other than I saw a clip of The Shootist, another John Wayne movie. They did right before he died. It's called The Shootist. It had Richard Boone in it, who Richard Boone played Paladin from Have Gun Will Travel. But I watched a clip of that on YouTube. But goddamn, it was gorgeous. It was like it was just shot. You know, like that's how crisp it was. The frame rate quality was just amazing. But anyway,
you know, the funny thing is too, like Nevada Smith last week the movie was made the same year, and it had nowhere near that quality. It goes to show you like how much money they put into John Wayne movies. You know what I mean? Just because John Wayne was because like I said, Nevada Smith made the same year. Nowhere close to the quality that this John Wayne movie was.
When I went to Walmart the other day and I was looking at different like Pioneer magazines and Old West magazines and shit, and they have like they have a whole John Wayne magazine, and it was like volume 15 or something like that, or issue 15. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's that much shit to put out about John Wayne? I mean, I guess so. You know, he lived a long life. You know, and did a lot of fucking cowboy movies, but Jesus, man, to put out that many goddamn magazines, you know, you think it would be weird because you figure print, you know, they say essentially print's dead, you know, which I hope not. I love books, physical books and magazines, but yeah. But anyway, getting back to El Dorado, I liked it. You know, I did have, I'll be honest, I had some interruptions. You know. Trying to watch it. I watched it the one time. I had interruptions. Watched it again. I had interruptions. I don't think it's very possible for me to watch a movie with, you know, uninterrupted until it's like 2:00 in the morning. And 2:00 in the morning, I'm usually working on the website.
Right.
You know what I mean?
By the way, you should really put that put the videos that you sent me about the website that you're making up on Instagram or something. Like those are cool. It looks nice. Like I said, the website's going to be up on the first of next month, and it looks great, man. Yeah, I just have to make everything as good. Are we going to talk about El Dorado? Do we have much to talk about with it, or can I talk about the website? No. I'm sorry. I was kind of distracted over there. But no. First off, the thing I loved about El Dorado was it's one of those movies that has a theme song. Like the first thing I noticed when I started the movie was that it was like ride or ride until we find El Dorado. Like it had like sometimes I feel like every movie should just have like some sort of theme song that has like the movie name in it. I was pleasantly surprised as soon as I started that it was like El Dorado. But I think a lot of like old Western movies like that have that sort of thing going on for them. You'd have like old singers like Johnny Western who would do, you know, different things. You doing a movie? You doing a movie? I'll write a song about it.
Yeah. Well, you did have those guys, you know, like Gene Autry, Roy Rogers, you know, people like that. They would fucking, you know, sing a Johnny Western. Not Johnny Rebel. That's a completely different fucking guy. If you don't know who Johnny Rebel is, don't know who he is.
The movie El Dorado was about this fella who's a hired gun named Cole Thornton, and he meets up with his old buddy, an old sheriff named J.P. Hara, and they sort of like go on this adventure together to kill. I really wasn't clear about the story, honestly. I was more captured with just, you know what the best thing about the movie was? It was just that John Wayne made me laugh so much in it. There was a part in the movie, I don't know if you remember this, like towards the beginning where John Wayne he shows up at this camp where this ranch, and he's like giving
is this, hold on, stop, let me cut you off. Is this where he backs up on the horse?
Yeah, exactly. Where he backs up on the horse.
That's, you know who the guy is there, right?
Well, I wasn't talking about the part that he backed up on the horse. I was talking about the part right before that where he's sitting there and he's talking to those guys, and the one guy goes reaching for the gun on his horse saddle, and he just looks over and he goes, "Hey, you fancy vest, get away from the gun." The guy had like these shining like brass things on his vest, and just the fact that he called him fancy vest made me laugh so fucking hard.
I honestly thought you were gonna isolate that clip. I did. Listen to me. You're going to isolate that clip, and we're going to use that for future
fancy
shows.
Vest.
Hey, fancy vest. Yeah. The guy, though, the main guy that was standing there, that's Ed Asner. I don't know if you know who Ed Asner is from Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Ed Asner, yeah. And the young guy, who I guess John Wayne, takes under his wing or whatever the fuck he does, the young gambler dude, that's James Caan.
Right.
And then the other, what's his name, JP? That's
JP
Robert Mitchum.
Yeah, so they're going after him and JP Hera, who turns out to be a drunk, are going after this fella named Mr. Jason. Another part of the movie that made me really laugh is when they ran into that kid, the knife thrower, who's going to help them during their adventure to kill Mr. Jason. And John Wayne, he asks the kid what his name is, and his name, he goes, "My name is Alan Badillion Traherne." and he goes, "My name is Alan Badillion Traherne," and John Wayne just goes, "God damn!" And then the kid goes, "Well, that's why they call me Mississippi." That's why they call me Mississippi. So he just calls him Mississippi. Shit. But then later on in the movie, he comes back to when he meets Mr. Jason, in the place, he goes, "Hey, Mississippi, tell that guy what your name is." He goes, "It's Alan Badillion Traherne." He goes, "Well, no wonder they call you Mississippi."
Yeah, so they had their ongoing joke.
Yeah. It was really funny. Yeah, all the way through. It was very, very funny. I love I love the part where there's a part, and it reminded me of Nevada Smith, where Nevada Smith goes to that gunsmith to learn how to shoot. Well, there's a part similar to that in this movie where Cole says he's talking to Mississippi, or Alan Badillion Traherne, and he's telling him, "Well, we can't do this unless you know how to shoot. So you want me to teach you how to shoot?" And he's like, "Yeah, teach me how to shoot." So he takes him out. I love this part. Cole decides he's going to teach Mississippi to shoot a weapon, and he asks him to shoot this. He takes him out in the desert, asks him to shoot a cactus. Well, Mississippi tries one single time to shoot the cactus, and Cole just says, "Well, I'm afraid it's useless." Because he misses. He misses the cactus on the very first shot. It just goes, "Well, it's useless." and then they go buy him a scatter gun. They just go buy him this sawed-off shotgun. You're like, "Well, can't miss anything with that." And that was the whole learning to shoot a gun phase.
Yeah, and then it's like he goes from not knowing shit to fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
Check this out. I'm looking at I'm reading the Wikipedia for El Dorado, just looking at different things, and here's a really cool fucking tidbit. It's this poem. It's like the poem repeated in the film and paraphrased in a theme song is El Dorado, a ballad poem by Edgar Allan Poe.
I actually noticed that. I didn't know it was Edgar Allan Poe, but I knew that the poem that Mississippi is constantly reciting in the movie I knew that it was the same as the lyrics for the actual theme song for the show, the one that they play at the beginning.
Whoa, look at the critical response here. Roger Ebert gave the film a near perfect rating at 3.5 out of 4 stars.
Wow.
And I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. Well, actually 5 out of.
Oh, by the way, I never said what I was giving it. I never said what I was going to give it. I'm giving it a 7 shiny badges. 7 shiny badges on a scale. 7 shiny badges on a scale of a ridiculous 6 to Tombstone. 7.
Which is 0 ridiculous 6 is 0. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's a lot. Like, wow. Yeah. And I'm only giving it a 5. Here's the thing. I got to watch it again. I think this is going to be a recurring problem here with me rating things and
underrating
then amending my rating. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you can never rate anything too high because you're always you're one of those people who are like, well, there's always going to be something better than this, and I can't like. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to like oversell anything when there's obviously going to be some movies that we're going to watch that are just going to be phenomenal, and some that are going to be probably terrible. Absolutely,
like our movie we have for next week.
The movie that we're watching for next week is called Ambush at Dark Canyon. It is on Netflix, and you can check it out with us and review that film for yourself before next week's podcast. But it's called Ambush at Dark Canyon, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't look all that great. But I don't even really know what it's about.
Something that Netflix doesn't have the most extensive catalog.
Well, I'm just using Netflix because it's the most accessible thing. It's the most accessible thing for anybody else to listen to. I did have one.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap this up, I have one question for you that I kind of found interesting last night while I was watching our movie El Dorado. I was wondering how many different horses do you think John Wayne has ridden in his life? Like, say, if I gave you an over-under of, say, 150, would you take the over or the under?
Wow. I would take the under.
Under 150 horses that John Wayne has ridden?
Yeah. Yeah, I would take the under. The reason why I think a lot of people want to become accustomed to their to one particular horse, and
but you have to take into consideration how many. I should have looked it up. How many Western John Wayne movies are there? Because there might be 100.
Yeah, but there might be 100, but he also may have used the same horse in a lot of them because it might, instead of just renting another one, he may have, here we go. I just found it. This is the Duke always used his very own horse named Dollar.
Really? Well, how about
so there
that?
You go. I would win then.
I guess I should have done some research. He always used it. No, that can't be true because the horse that he rode
it can't be true because Cole knows better.
Well, I'm saying the horse that he rode in El Dorado was like this white speckled pony, and I've never seen him on that horse before.
Yeah, I'm sure that every once in a while, he probably had a fucking different horse. I don't know. I just read the one thing. Hey, maybe somebody fucking wrote that as a fact or fiction, and they're just
See, I was leaning towards the over on 150. I was thinking he'd probably ridden over 150 horses in his life, and I'm still pretty confident in that.
Oh, he did have different ones, but his favorite that he rode was Dollar.
All right. Well, Wyatt Earp's horse, or Wyatt Earp. Why the fuck did I just say Wyatt Earp? John Wayne's horse was Dollar.
Yeah.
Is there a picture of it? Is there a picture of Dollar? You know what you should do? You should find a picture of John Wayne's horse, Dollar.
I did.
Find a picture of John Wayne's horse, and we'll post that on our Twitter. John Wayne's favorite horse, Dollar.
Oh, Dollar was in True Grit, the one that he rode in True Grit.
Nice. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Ox, if you want to go ahead and plug everything that we got to plug.
Yeah, I fixed the Facebook page, so it is now facebook.com/SmokeWagonRadio. Our Twitter is twitter.com. If our Facebook or our Twitter was Facebook,
our
that would be
Twitter
very
is
strange.
Facebook.com.
Our Twitter is, right, / sandwiches.
Exactly.
It's not.
/ cunt.
Twitter.com. It is not. That is also a lie. You made that up. Like I made up old
Ben.
Fucking leaky eye Ben. All right. So we're at facebook.com / SmokeWagonRadio, twitter.com / Smoke Wagon Radio. We have Periscope, Smoke Wagon Radio, and Smoke Wagon Radio 2. Cole uses Smoke Wagon Radio, and I use Smoke Wagon Radio 2. You can reach us at Gmail. Oh, you had a question, by the way.
Yeah, I did. If you want to write us an email at smokewagonradio@gmail.com, I would love, whether it's just running us down, telling us how bad we suck and how awful our language is, or if you want to send us a nice little message telling us how good looking and handsome we are and how awesome we sound on this podcast, you can send us an email at smokewagonradio@gmail.com, and I would love to read your emails on the show, which would be fun.
Questions, comments.
Questions, comments, things about the show, questions about our personal lives, our sexuality, things like that. Anything you want to talk about. So go ahead and send us an email, and I'll read it. Just make
your
it
wife,
short.
your wife might get angry. My girlfriend might get angry.
Make it like 250 words or less, or something like that. No long drawn out shit, or else I'm gonna have to paraphrase. And I don't want to ruin your beautiful words.
Just type in shorthand.
Also, I'm on Snapchat.
Oh. We're also on iTunes, so let's. Obviously,
of course, we probably shouldn't forget iTunes. We're on iTunes. Just look up Smoke Wagon on iTunes, and you will find our. Also,
podcast. Tell us how you found us. Tell us how you found us and what you think of the show and what we should add. What you want to hear. What you don't want to hear. Just be understanding that we're not going to really talk politics or stuff like that, religion, politics. We just don't.
No.
We just try to keep that keep out of. We're going to keep away from that stuff. But yeah, any questions, concerns, anything, just write to us.
And like I was saying, I am on Snapchat. You can find me on Snapchat, which I snap quite a bit for a guy from Oklahoma who's not really very adept at social media. I do some snapping, and you can find me there at Nathan is Drunk. That's my Snapchat. And if you want to catch us next week, I would love for you to do that. Smoke Wagon, it is the business.
Ain't that a pity?
I forgot you were there. You may go now.